Now, you've been working with Phil for a while.
Mm-hmm.
How was it then making the transition? I assume you guys had mounted the play originally and then making a transition to camera. Can you talk about, one, your relationship with him, and then the two of you bringing this to the screen?
Yeah, well, Phil and I met a long time ago, 1994. We did a production of Merchant of Venice, and immediately we became really good friends, you know, and it grew into artistic marriage where we worked together as actors. He's directed me a bunch on stage. We worked together as producers and co-artistic directors of Labyrinth Theater Company, and that's been the past like 16, 17 years. It's been, you know, one of those things that is rare to find, you know, kind of an artistic brother like that. I share a lot of the same values you do and work ethic, and to be able to share that is special, you know, and I'm really glad I have it with him, and I think he might feel the same way. And making the move from stage to screen on Jack O's Buildings was a lot easier than what people might think. You know, it was a seamless transition, or as seamless as possible. We got very lucky that, first of all, the play is very cinematic in structure, and so it kind of lended itself to the screen quite easily. You know, it had a lot of different locations, and several companies, film companies like Overture and Big Beach, saw the play and definitely saw the possibility of it becoming a movie. And you know, things kind of evolved out of there, you know, and it was quite an organic process in making the adaptation and then ultimately shooting it as well. You know, we had people involved that really cared about it, and it felt intimate, and they were invested in the same way that the folks who were doing the theater piece were. So that was kind of great, and we didn't feel like we had to work a lot at getting the movie done. We were really, really lucky with that.
You know, you guys have been partners at the company.
Yeah.
Does that partnership sort of extend itself onto a movie? I mean, he's the director, and you're the actor, you're taking direction, but do you sometimes step out and sort of co-direct with him on your role, that kind of thing? You know, I mean, sure, there's give and take between an actor and director.
Yeah, no, I've never co-directed with him on it. You know, I never put on the hat. You know, a great dynamic that we have between each other when it comes to work is that, you know, there's a great give and take, you know, and, you know, I think one of our biggest strengths is to, you know, trust and have confidence that the other person knows what he's doing and is doing it, you know, and whether you agree with it or not, you know, and I had enough to do as an actor. You know, and you know, it's important for anyone in general to like let their vision and their impulses, let them have that follow through. You know, that's really key. Whether you see it being a misstep or whatever, because that's only going to make it stronger. You know, and that's a big part of our missions in the theater company, you know, at Lab, is to, like, you know, a step backwards may not be a bad thing, or, you know, falling down may not be a bad thing, you know, and actually encouraging people to fail.
That's a good mantra.
Yeah.
You know, it takes attention off, and great things can come out.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, and not being too precious about it.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
That big, you know, there's a big conflict scene, you know, the dinner party, the four of you. I just wonder, first of all, I presume, did you shoot location or did you build that set?
We built that set.
You built that, yeah, because you didn't
That was the only, we were there for 2 weeks.
Yeah. How was it hammering that thing out? I mean, you had all four of you there, and the scenes are long. I mean, that scene runs a long time, and you know, it's a piece of work. You know what I mean? And of course, you know, temperatures are high. You know?
Absolutely.
So talk a little bit about capturing that and getting that together.
Well, that scene definitely runs a gamut, you know, from A to Z in emotion, and there's many different parts to that scene, you know. So a trick was not to kind of mash it up and make it a one general scene, but to really take time and care with each chunk of that scene. And it's almost like a movie in itself, you know. And Phil did a great job in prepping for it, you know, and because there was so much dialogue, at the end of the day, even if we were revisiting that part of the scene, we would have the crew watch a read-through or a run-through of what we were going to do the next day. So it just helped the focus intact, because the scene, if you look at it and you think about it, you can maybe get a little overwhelmed and be like, oh my God, we're doing that tomorrow, so it helped a lot to kind of break it up in those chunks.
Is a scene like that, is it strenuous for you to do? I mean, again, because, the emotional content of the scene, I mean, you're summoning a lot. It's not just running a few lines. Mm-hmm. Presumably you've been through this
mm-hmm.
scene numerous times and everything, but is it difficult for you to, that type of scene?
Well, yeah, I mean, it's always difficult. I mean, I could open up a door in a movie and it's difficult for me. So sometimes the stuff that seems really, really difficult is not as difficult. But there were many challenges for me in that scene, and I knew I had to work really hard in preparing for it. And I, of course, have all the trust in the world for Phil, and he's out there looking at me, and I knew he had my back, and he knew where he had to push me when I needed to be pushed. And because I knew it so well, I didn't need that much. And Phil knows that because we know each other so well. So, it was pretty efficient in terms of what he said and direction. And he says it in a way that I know I need to listen to it a little more closer. And so, yeah, there were moments that were tough, but overall, when you have a collective really working hard, it becomes a little easier on you, really being lifted from all angles.
Thank you, sir.
Thanks, man.
Terrific job.
I really appreciate it. Thank you.